Hi guys, welcome to our new office and new studio. What do you think? It's nice, isn't it, Piers? It's very nice. So we've just built this, you may have seen last week on our social media. We put this together because we're going to be doing some new content in here where we're actually just answering more of your questions. We've had loads of questions coming in, Piers, through Snapchat, through Instagram stories, through Facebook and Twitter. So we thought, why not do a Q&A today and get as many questions answered as we can, guys, really. Some different questions coming through as well. We're going to ask, not just necessarily just bound to the golf course. This enables us to actually open ourselves up a little bit.
Plus it's great when the weather's bad, which often happens in the UK, unfortunately, this time of year. What are your goals for 2017? So personal and channel goals. What are our goals?
Okay, so my personal goals. Well, I broke my down into the first quarter, so from January to March. So I do these around about Christmas time. I wanted to start yoga, which I started a couple of weeks ago, which is hard, but actually really good. I want to be able to stay mobile as I'm getting older, getting closer towards Piers, his age. Also, learning. I wanted to, one of the things I want to become is TrackMan Master Certified.
Yep.
So hopefully by the end of March, that's going to be done. It's important for me that we continue really to develop our knowledge. Also read a book a month. So I'm reading a book every month, whether it's either actually physically reading a book or listening to an audio book in the car. So they're three of my goals, but also one other goal, actually, is to play more golf, more social golf. So now my hand's back in action, I can do that. So as soon as the weather gets a little better, I'm sure we're going to be out there quite a lot more.
Okay, yeah, I mean, similar for me, really. Obviously, playing more golf, definitely. Learning, about the golf swing. We love learning about the golf swing, and we need to do it. So that actually goes from personal into our channel as well. For me, traveling. I love traveling. So I want to see events as well. So whether it be El Clasico or going to Wimbledon or going to the races, I don't feel I've done enough of that in my time, and we speak about it all the time. So yeah, hopefully going to be watching the El Clasico. So that's Real Madrid versus Barcelona at the end of April. So fingers crossed that's going to happen. But yeah, so things like that really. Just big world out there. Let's see some of it.
Definitely. And channel goals, really. I mean, just to continue to get better and make better content for you guys. I mean, this is something new we're exploring. So hopefully just to continue to develop and create some different content for you guys, really.
Yeah.
Whose swing do you think is better, Rory or DJ?
Rory or DJ, crikey, wow. Okay, well, DJ's is probably working the best at the moment, isn't it? World number 1 on 5, won last night. It's just so different, aren't they? I think the one thing that I was saying to you before, that the thing with DJ, I can't remember him ever being injured. And I know Mcilroy's injured, but he's very light frame, very powerful, but DJ is a proper unit. So maybe for me at the moment, it has to be DJ because he's going to stay fitter for longer. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the key thing is a lot of people get focused on how the swing should look as opposed to how the swing should work. Now, based on the results, you'd have to say DJ's is the better golf swing, although it looks probably unorthodox. The ball doesn't really care what the swing looks like. That's what you've got to remember. So as long as it works and it's repeatable, then that's the important thing. But actually, in terms of looks, Rory McIlroy kills it really. But in terms of performance,
the function
DJ
of DJ at the moment,
DJ. So that's
good question though. Very good question. Lowest round ever. So these are personal questions. Lowest round ever, Andy.
Lowest? Can I put my par 3 course in there?
yeah.
Well, actually, my lowest round ever is at a par 3 course where I used to work at the Three Hammers, and it was 9 under par. I had that a couple of times. Never got to double figures, but I got to 9 under par. My lowest round ever, I'm not actually sure what it is. I've shot a few 5-unders, but I'm not sure if I've done any 6-unders. I'm not sure. I'm sure I have, but I remember my 5-unders. I remember a 5-under, which was at Worfield, just down the road from here, but I'm not sure. Not sure.
You had a 4-under, was it, to win a tournament, which was a good
that was
last
my best
round,
but not my lowest round. That's my best round.
I had a 9-under at the course that we're playing at the moment. I had an eagle on the last in the dark. I was playing by myself. Mark Muscuff there. Also, I was playing with a couple of my clients. So actually, but that was not that was probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. But yeah, 9-under.
That was when you used to play.
That's when I used to play a little bit more. Yeah,
that's when you didn't have changes. That's when you didn't start YouTube.
I go for 10 under this year.
Okay, so next question from Instagram is from David Devonish. Would a club too stiff for you promote blocked shots?
Yes, it could do. It could do. I mean, we talk about the flex in the shaft now a lot, and we're finding more and more from manufacturers, and the shaft is very much for the feel, and actually the club head is more about the maneuverability of the golf ball. So it's you speak to a shaft manufacturer and they'll probably say yes, that there's a lot in that, and I'm sure there is, of course, but from the fitters that we're speaking to more and more now, they're talking more about the club head doing the work, aren't they?
Yeah. So yeah, I think from that, yeah, if you're hitting the golf ball excessively offline to the right, then you've got to look towards yourself. You know, if as you said, Piers, from the fitters that we spoke to, they said the technology, really, the fit is really based around the head and the manoeuvrability, changeability of the heads. The shaft really is definitely personal preference. Piers likes, what I would say is that if you've got a shaft that doesn't suit you, let's say if I was swinging a club, your shaft, that would change my golf swing, which could cause something. So you've got to find a shaft that you feel comfortable with, where you can swing within what you normally like to swing like.
We're definitely not saying that a shaft isn't important, because obviously it is, but you know, we're talking about how the ball obviously goes from left to right. So
So if it's a big push, then it's probably yourself.
Yes.
Make sure you check your technique to have a look at that really. If you're hitting a straight push to the right, then there's a good chance, well, there is a chance that your path is right and your face is pointing the same way. So
what would be your best tip for someone looking to break 100 for the first time? I kind of got two on that, I think, really, for myself. I mean, do you want me to go with that, Andy, first of all? I think the first one is understand, and this is the same for any standard really, understand what you're good at and what you're bad at. And obviously play to your strengths and figure out what you need to, you need to improve. Now, I know that might sound a bit strange, but you know, a lot of people we find, especially when they're trying to break 100, they don't really, they hit a couple of bad drives and they're quite destructive, they feel, but actually if they're really bad from 50 yards and in, they can really save a lot of shots that way. So just be aware of what you need to do better, obviously what you do well, what you need to do better. And I think the other one is learn how to hit out the middle. If you can hit it out the middle, you're going to save so many shots when you're at that stage. So the majority of people you see on a, who are shooting around that 100 score, they'll scatter the golf ball all over the club face. If you can get it more centered, those scores will definitely come down.
Good one. Okay, so I would say personally on that one, go for some golf lessons. If you're not having any golf lessons and you're thinking, I want to get to break that 100, as soon as you go for golf lessons and you find someone who really gels with you, your progress is going to be so much faster because you've got a specific plan to yourself, getting the fundamentals right, the grip, the posture, which allows you to get that centered strike, but also an understanding of the golf swing and the areas you need to work on. So, I mean, number one, really, yes, these videos are great for learning. Go and get some one-to-one golf lessons because your improvement will definitely increase. You're definitely going to get faster improvement doing that, really. Okay,
good.
How to stop coming over the top, how to shift your weight forward, how to stop flipping the club, please. A lot of people, when it comes to looking at their own golf swings, they understand that they do certain things wrong. They can see them clearly. They can see they're hanging back, they can see they're coming over the top, and they can see they are flipping the club. Now, the problem is they're trying to fix all those things, but they're the symptoms. What we'd say is there is one underlying fault, which is usually the club face, that is causing those things. So rather than focusing on the symptoms, really address the problem and find out, see if you can pinpoint the problem where the face issue is. Now, if somebody is generally swinging over the top and hanging back, then look, guarantee really that club face is going to be open somewhere during the backswing and downswing. So correct the face, give yourself a reason to move the lower body, and things will change quickly. So forget the symptoms, find the fault if you can do.
I think the best way to change it as well is like Andy said there, if you can actually get the face not only square, get it closed. So actually make the golf ball go to the left. So if you think about all those three swing faults, if you had a closed club face with those three swing faults, the ball would go extreme left. So suddenly then your brain hopefully would go, well, hang on a bit, I need to shift my weight more. I need to get the club on a better path on the way down. I need to get the shaft length forward more to actually get the golf ball going straight, because all of those symptoms happen because the face was open. Get the face closed and you get rid of it.
Definitely.
Change it.
It's a big one, that is. Everybody tends to want to fix the symptoms, so fix the fault and it changes everything.
Yeah, definitely. What is the most common power leak that you see with amateur golfer swings? Well, that was one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that was one of it.
Club face, definitely power leak.
Andy, have you got anything else on that?
One of the most, club face is probably the most important because, as we've said, so if the club face is in a poor position, you can't sequence the downswing. But also, I'd say just being able to make a good backswing. You know, a lot of golfers struggle to, we talk about it all the time in loading into the backswing to load up against your trail leg to push from. I'd say, a poor body motion and pivot in the way back definitely sort of leads to that. Yeah. But I think the number one piece is
controlling the club face. Yeah, controlling the club face, but also contact as well. So if you can get it in the center of the face, the ball speed coming off that is going to be a lot stronger and a lot higher than coming off the toe and the heel and low down and high up. And often when you scatter it around the face, not only do you lose ball speed, you also lose your optimum ability to get the distance out of your shot. So you can lose, you know, we've seen from off-center hits, you know, you can lose sort of 30 yards easily on a drive. And if you think, well, if you get 30 yards better by just hitting out the center of the club, that's got to be worth striving for, definitely.
Definitely. Hi guys, different players use different ways to be the numbers one, maybe to be the number one. People use swing monitors, coaches, and the right clubs for them. How important do you think the mental part is? If you read about golf stars, they all have a psychological help, but is this one thing that young players forget? How much should young players focus on that part?
Firstly, yes, very important. So the mental part of it is very important. So you'll find that some golfers employ people to help them with that and give them drills and tips and sort of ways of putting them in the right direction almost. But then you look at some people who've never had any of that training before from a coach, but they would have had that training in their upbringing. So for instance, DJ, world number one, we've heard stories about him playing golf when he was just coming on the scene as a very top level amateur. He just hated to lose and he would do anything to win. And sometimes your circumstance, Jason Day as well, his family circumstances very difficult for him growing up. It sort of conditioned him. I call it the Mike Tyson theory as well. You know, Mike Tyson growing up boxing on the streets, he wasn't fighting to be a good boxer, he was fighting to stay alive almost. So I think sometimes if you condition yourself with your surroundings, it can help you. So the thing for us is, we're not saying to you, you've got to go and get a psychologist now, because it obviously gets expensive, but why don't you find ways of conditioning yourself to improve your standards, but also to improve your mental strength. So just making your practice harder is one of the things that we would do for people. You know, if you're conditioning yourself to hard practice all the time, you're going to get better.
And I just think people don't actually know what to work on when it comes to the mental side. People are aware, okay, I need to be strong mentally, I need to be better. Well, what does that mean? So everybody's different, you know, and we need to find out, well, we need to create some awareness of actually, well, where do you need to be better? So generally, if I ask Piers what he's working on his golf swing now, he'd be able to tell me maybe 2 or 3 things. If we ask an amateur what he's working on his golf swing, he'd probably do the same. But if we said, what are you working on mentally? He'd probably say, I don't really know. So being aware of actually your strengths and where you are weak mentally, whether you lose your temper after a bad shot, whether you talk bad to yourself, having that awareness and then saying, well, how can I implement some strategies in those to help me? So having the tools to do that, but the awareness is key.
It'd be interesting to find out from you guys actually what's, you know, whether you think that's something relevant to yourself. So post some comments down below. Let us know whether you think this is relevant to you. If you think it's not relevant to you, then maybe we can find a way of showing you that it is. So I got a question from Kevin Dillon from Facebook saying, I've been experiencing pain in my left, his lead ankle. Sometimes it may affect his release on the shot, but he just wants to figure out what he can do. I think the pain obviously is the main thing here. So you must make sure, Kevin, you go and see a physio. If you're getting pain, that's definitely the first place you should go. I would definitely recommend taking your golf shoes to your physio as well, and to find out whether they suit you or not, or maybe even your normal shoes. We've got 2 different styles here. We've got a very solid, stable golf shoe, and then we've got one here which is a lot more sort of got more flexibility in it. Obviously a bit more like a trainer now, isn't it? But there's so many of these shoes around. I know that when I've practiced before on the range, I've actually I used to practice in a trainer. It was a running shoe. That really didn't help me at all. I got a lot of pain from that. As soon as I put a golf shoe on, it was no problem. So the other thing I would suggest in the golf swing is look at your lead foot position. So we're saying more pressure goes through the lead foot than the right foot, so it's actually the most important foot to get sorted if you had a preference. But if we had a foot that's square on, obviously a lot of pressure going into there. By flaring it open like that, we're actually going to get less pressure going into the foot. We actually help improve the range in the hip as well, which is really important. So physio, number 1. Number 2, look at the style of shoe that you wear. Number 3, flare the foot out.
Yeah, and this will feel really strange. If you're used to having it like this, this feels really strange, by the way.
It will.
But it'll help, definitely help. How old were you when you started playing golf?
When I was about 14, I suppose, but that was a few times at the driving range. I didn't start playing golf properly until I was nearly 16. It was just before my 16th birthday, actually.
Okay, and what was your handicap when you were 15? That was the next question.
Scratch. So my first handicap was 20, so I got my first handicap pretty quickly. So, but I was pretty much fully formed as a sports person, I suppose, if that makes sense. I was able to hit the golf ball. I wasn't like a 10-year-old learning to get power and distance. I'd already got those components from other sports. So.
Okay, good question. So if you're 15 and you're less than 20, then you've got a head start on Piers. That's the key thing. I was 13 when I started. I joined Oxley, where Piers was actually working in the shop there. That was when I started properly, but I'd hit balls on a short course before that. And when I was 15, my handicap was probably around about, probably not far off, I'd say about 18, 19.
Yeah, I'd say about that. Yeah.
I'd say around about that when I was 15. So quite late into the game compared to some of the guys who get into it now.
Yeah.
But because we'd done a lot of sports as well, I'd done a lot of sports as I was growing up, my sort of improvement was quite rapid due to the fact that I've played a lot of other things. So
one of the questions we had as well was about what juniors should do. Juniors should play all sports. Up until the age of 15, you should be doing very much as you can and then go from there. What's the favourite thing you have done since you became YouTubers? I don't know. We've done lots of favourite things. I think two main things for me that stand out. Dealing with some of the best players in the world and just meeting them and just having their interest as well. Actually, when we speak to them, they're actually interested in what we're doing. That's quite cool. These are guys who watch on telly, obviously. And the other thing is meeting you guys. That sounds a little bit cheesy, but actually, you know, the fact that we can go to an event and we see you guys and the conversations, you know, we can talk for hours on the golf swing. I think it's brilliant. I think it's just really nice that that's something we're able to do. So,
yeah,
a bit cheesy, but
it is. Yeah, do you know what? And the thing, whenever we see you guys, whether we're at a tournament or whatever, and you come up to us and say, "Oh, that drill has really helped me," or you know, your videos are really helping. This is exactly why we do it. So that's the best feeling that we can have if you guys are saying, actually, these videos are working. So I think that is, yeah. And do you know what? I think for me, the actual whole experience from traveling to working with people like DJ and meeting Rory, and there's not anything specific that stands out. I think the last few years have been brilliant because of all the experiences we've had, really. But I think the main thing is definitely, I think, meeting you guys.
It's actually played TPC Sawgrass is probably the one.
There we go. That's it. That's the favourite one. TPC Sawgrass. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's one in there somewhere.
That's the one. Okay, is that
that's
all
good. Yeah, that's all good for me, Andy. On questions.
Right.
I mean, look,
plenty of questions.
We had hundreds. It was brilliant. Thank you.
So, guys, bit of a different one today in the office, as we say. Q&A. Should we do some more of these? Make sure you post any comments down below. Hit the like button if you think we should. Lots more topics to cover as we go into the next few weeks. A few different areas that we're looking into, so we may be posting about that. Please leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. See you soon.
Thanks for watching, guys.